let's talk braids and wigs, the synthetic ones to be exact. So if you are in the loop, if you're a natural hair enthusiast, if you're in the beauty industry, if you're a big fan, then you probably have heard that synthetic braids and wigs are in the hot seat. Why are they in the hot seat? So research has emerged that points to these synthetic braids and wigs being causative agents of cancers. Right, so we want to explore this and a whole lot more in this video. So I do hope this captures your attention. I know a lot of black women wear wigs and braids, the synthetic ones to be exact, for several reasons. I know that things get rough sometimes and we don't have the time to stay and comb our hair, style our hair and all of that. We don't have the time. I know that this happens and sometimes we don't have the time to style our hair. But I want to ask you, what if the protection is putting you at risk? We know that these braids are used to provide protection. But what if they're causing us harm? What if these synthetic wigs are causing harm to us? It's also important to note that not only women or black women are affected by this, but men are also affected, as several black men are now wearing braids, synthetic braids or weaves, extensions as we would call it. So without any delay, let's look at the research. It's time to shed light on what researchers are saying about this, what you should know, and how do you deal with all that is here. Okay, so let's explore the article, Carcinogenic Materials in Synthetic Braids, an Unrecognized Risk for Hair Products for Black Women. This is by Ms. Thomas. Black women in the United States frequently encounter carcinogenic substances due to insufficient regulation of chemicals used in hair braiding, a significant cultural beauty tradition. And so one may ask, why is this an issue? If it is that these braids are found to cause harm, why is it that they're not adequately regulated? Right? That's a question that should be on everybody's mind, I presume by now. All right, so let's explore the article some more. So it is projected that by 2028, the global hair wig extension market is expected to surpass US $19.12 billion. This is really interesting. And yes, that's a lot of money. It's a whole lot of money. But this is scary because it causes you to think what will happen by that time, what will happen to our women, because this data is basically indicating that women will be wearing extensions way more than usual. They'll be wearing these synthetic braids way more than usual, right? And so it makes one think about the health concerns, the concerns for the family, reproductive health, and so on, and even for the males. So let's look at the article further. So Thomas explained that extensions are typically worn at least 4 to 6 weeks. So on average, every 4 to 6 weeks, most persons who wear braids, they'll have it in for that length of that time. And therefore, having these braids in increase your risk of exposure, because wearing them for 4 to 6 weeks is actually a long time for exposure. All right, so furthermore, so Thomas went on to say that the affordable monocrylic fiber, carnelian, is utilized by many well-known synthetic braiding extension brands and is commonly recommended by professional braiders due to its resemblance to afro-textured hair and resistance to unraveling. So basically saying that the carcinogen fibers that are used to make these synthetic wigs and extensions contain toxins. When humans become exposed to them, they are harmful. So this in itself is very concerning. And it sure does leave a lot of questions in our minds. So I guess you're wondering, who raised the alarm? Why is it that we're talking about this just now? So, a team of over 130 plus researchers and engineers and testing experts conducted a study. They're primarily called the customer reports. They conducted a study on 10 of the most popular synthetic hair brands, and they found something quite interesting. So they tested products from Magic Fingers, Sassy Collection, Sensational, Shake and Go, and many others, and they found that they all contained carcinogens. What are carcinogens? Carcinogens are agents that can cause cancer when exposed. When you become exposed to them, they can cause cancers. So these are the names of the brands with the hairlines that they did the test on, and they found that all of them contained carcinogens. This is so interesting. So they post a video. So Consumer Reports posted a video on their Instagram page, so you can go and take a look. So was this a thing before? Were persons speculating if these synthetic braids really cause cancer? All right, let's find out. So the Conversations posted an article in June 23, 2024, from the Federal University of Technology in Ohio. And it says that your wigs could be poisoning you. Study finds pesticides and other toxic chemicals in synthetic hair in Nigeria. Right. So this was from the year 2024. So from June of last year, this has been in the news. Synthetic wigs and braids have been in the news. What does this article has to say? All right, so let's explore it some more. It stated that in the study, we investigated 10 synthetic hair brands commonly worn by women. Some were made in Nigeria, others in Guyana and the US. We found that all of them had different levels of contaminants such as silver, cadmium, chromium, nickel, vanadium, and lead, including several pesticides which are hazardous to human health. Right? Very interesting. Pesticides at that. Just in case you don't know what pesticides are, we'll talk some more about that. So let's zoom in on lead. Okay, so the article by Kumar in 2018 basically states that it is a toxic metal affecting various organs, and developing fetus and young children are more vulnerable to toxicity of lead. So this overview is based on the information of toxic potential of lead to human reproduction and reproductive outcomes. So basically, lead affects not just women but also men, right? So it's very dangerous to health. So whether it be from a baby to an adult, it is very dangerous. Okay, let's explore pesticides, as a research had indicated that pesticides were found in these synthetic braids and wigs. So what are pesticides? So pesticides are chemicals used to kill, repel, or control pests, weeds, and diseases, right? So they can be herbicides that are used for plants. They can be used as controlling insects, insecticides, fungicides, among others. All right, so let's see what the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency in 2024 has to say about pesticides. So, what are the potential health effects of pesticides? The health effects of pesticides depend on the type of pesticide. Some, such as the organophosphates and carbonates, affect the nervous system. So, some are specific to the nervous system. Others may irritate the skin or the eyes, and some pesticides may also be carcinogenic. Others may affect the hormone or endocrine system in the body, right? So, in other words, some systemic, some localized, some may just, irritate the area of the skin that it comes in contact with. All right, so it's important to also note that synthetic hair is made from plastic. Yes, we have a big problem with plastic these days, and can you imagine with the projection for 2025, 2029, knowing that a lot of persons will be using a lot of plastics? It's crazy. So you have human blends, which is a type of hair where it's a combination of human hair and synthetic hair. You also have human hair, which is 100% human hair, as in it comes from a human being. So there's no addition to it in terms of any fakeness, as we would say in Jamaican term. So why synthetic hair? So it's very convenient. It's affordable. People actually use it to manage hair loss, and it's less maintenance. So people will run to synthetic hair because of its convenience and all these areas listed, right? So convenience in the sense that you can grab that wig and throw it on and go about your business, and you don't have to worry about spending hours trying to do a complicated natural hairstyle or a complicated style. It's very affordable, it's plastic, it's cheap, and hair loss maintenance, we know that, as well as it's a cultural thing. Some cultures, braids are a thing, wearing synthetic extensions or braids are a thing, as well as it protects the hair. So how to cope now that you hear about this, and if you are overly obsessed with braids, extensions, synthetic braids and extensions, how do you cope with this? How can you keep yourself and those you love safe? So it's recommended that you look for products labeled as non-toxic or hypoallergenic, right? Consider 100% human hair, less chances of any exposure to any carcinogen. So stick to human hair. Avoid wearing wigs for too long, and this, that is overexposure. So when you wear wigs and braids for too long, you know that you're exposing yourself to the carcinogens even longer, or possible carcinogens longer, or not just carcinogens but toxins. And if you the longer you come in contact with it, the greater the risk, right? So as much as possible, you do same. All right. So moving on, choose breathable wigs and extension styles. So styles that, your hair is able to breathe, not too much, not those long wigs drawing on the ground, taking up every other dirt in the environment. Not throwing any shades here, but I've seen it. I don't know how, ladies, how you do it. Those who do it, I don't know how you do it, because I can recall there was a setting, I went to a hospital and I saw a doctor in long extensions. And I tell you, the extensions, as she moved from one point to the next, the wig was just sweeping, cleaning the surfaces. I was so disgusted. Anyway, leave that for another time. So I'm just focusing on giving you recommendations to minimize your risk for harm and risk for exposure to carcinogens. So rock that hairstyle. Rock your natural hair. That's the easiest way. That's the safest way when you go without them. Even though I know one may say, oh, it's still not safe, because here we go. We hear about rocking or natural hair, but these products, these natural hair products that are being branded, are really not for natural hair. Some of them, that is. And we've seen it in the media. I did a video recently concerning a particular hair brand that came under fire recently, so you can go check that out. Also, use heat styling tools with caution. So when you add heat to synthetic material, they tend to, especially the braids and so on, it tends to increase the risk for toxins to be released and so on. So also take a break and learn how to style your natural hair. There's so many styles on my channel. Look at this one. There's so many. So not just my channel, but other YouTubers who talk about hair care and so on. So all the best, but see you in my next video.